Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of What the Femme Podcast. I am Marie Dementhe.
I am Birdie Holly.
And today we are absolutely glad and grateful to be joined by the one and only Dyking Out co-hosts, Carolyn Bergier and Melody Kamali. Welcome!
Hi. I think that's two and only.
Two and only? Oh, that's right. Yeah, absolutely.
And no more than that.
And no more. And that will be it. And that will be all.
What they leave in their Twitter bio.
You don't want to be known as like the royal we is kind of how I look at that, of like the combination of the two. So if we can refer to you in that way, then
well, before this, we just mentioned that our periods are synced. So I guess we're officially in it.
That's really cute.
Yeah.
You'll see each other like every day or like pretty often, would you say?
Wait, I couldn't hear that. Sorry.
Try that again, Birdie.
I was asking, do you think you guys see each other like not every day, but like once? Like how often are we seeing
virtually
mostly?
Yeah.
Wow, synced up through the internet. That's some powerful.
That's a lot of communication.
Yeah, that's a lot of communication.
Some really strong oaths. They're just like sending out the waves. Well, we are so excited to have you on the show today. But before we get started, can we go over your pronouns, please?
Yes. Mine are she, her.
And likewise, she, her, or whatever.
Or whatever. We do love the whatevers. And can you remind everybody where you all are currently based out of?
I'm in Brooklyn, New York.
Very cool.
I am outside of Brooklyn, New York.
Somewhere.
So like close by.
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all outside of New York at some point? That's a good point.
No, I moved about an hour upstate.
Excellent.
From the city. Yeah.
How long were you in like the city?
I was in the city for 7.5 years, I think.
Oh, cool. Where do you guys hail from before the city?
So before I moved to New York, I was living in Atlanta, Georgia. Cool. Yeah, but I'm originally from Montreal. And then some detours in between.
Yeah, that's right.
Some detours, some pit stops. Yeah. Along the way.
Yeah.
Cool. What about you?
I lived in Chicago for 8.5 years before I moved here in 2018. And I'm originally from Central Connecticut.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I love that.
Oh, Chicago. Yeah, my best friend lives out there that I grew up with. I like going to Chicago. I like going to visit.
So fun.
Yeah. Do you go back ever often?
Yeah, once in a while. And I try to in the summer. It's really only worth visiting in the summer.
I was going to say.
I got that in. Yeah. Really fun city. I barely remember my time there. Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Good. Yeah. In a good way.
Yeah.
Chicago's a good time.
We were fortunate enough to have your partner on the show a few months back, and Allie Clayton. Everybody, please go back and listen to that awesome episode.
What a gem! Yeah.
What a total gem! And she filled us in on tiny little moments of y'all's wonderful time in Chicago. So I am confident that y'all had a really good time.
Oh yeah, can only imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
What she revealed.
It was good. It was good. It was just the tiny highlights. But so what was it exactly that drove the both of you to move to New York?
Allie and I were long distance, so just an insurmountable amount of pressure.
Right.
That part. I know I was going to eventually, but yeah, being in a long distance relationship is what did it for me.
How'd you guys meet?
In the comedy scene in Chicago.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. I sort of have this rule. I don't hook up with comedians unless they're moving to New York or LA.
Unless they're moving very soon.
Yeah, that was my rule. And Allie was moving. So it's just supposed to be a summer fling, but then it turned into
11.
Yeah.
Got me so fast. Yeah.
Yeah. 5 years, 5 summers later. Here we are.
5 summers later. That's precious. 2 comedians. Yeah.
That needs to be a movie, right? The 5 years of summer instead of 500 days.
Oh, yeah.
5 years of summers. 5 summers.
For me, I moved to New York when I was with my ex-wife, and we got married while we were living in Atlanta. And part of it was that we were kind of sick of not living in a state where our marriage was recognized. And she had family that lived on Long Island. We both really liked the city. New York was somewhere that I thought I'd always want to live someday. I hadn't started comedy or anything yet. I was actually in a PhD program in Atlanta. So I had kind of committed to being there for 5 more years with this program, but I hated it and I did it for all the wrong reasons. So I quit the program less than a year in and was like, let's just move to New York. So we did.
Fuck it. What were you doing? What were you getting your PhD
in? Marketing. It was,
and you were like,
care about it at all.
Yeah. Really? That's
was
crazy.
It one of those things where you were like, I'm in, like what were the wrong reasons you would say? I don't want to pry, but I'm just curious.
Oh, yeah. So I was working at a university and my boss was a marketing professor and he was making a shit ton of money. And was like, you could do this too, Carolyn.
And you're like,
good at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's hard not to follow.
Like if you ask my therapist, maybe it's because my dad was also a marketing professor and maybe that's why I also thought it was a good idea at the time.
Felt like it was in the bloodline.
Yeah. I was like, well, he really liked it. And
I'm his daughter. So like I probably
family business. That's how this goes.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. You get to travel. You can make a lot of money. You get like very generous time off. You can work as much as you want to after a certain point. Like the first bunch of it's hard, but then once you get tenure, you're like,
I'm set.
Yeah.
It's easy breezy. Not easy breezy, but a little more than you probably got to experience before that. But
and also like all the blazers I'd get to wear. I was just like my professor wardrobe. I was very
the professor wardrobe was like a big driving force. I feel like for a lot of gays and
oh my god,
in academia, it's mostly about the aesthetic.
I just want to be like this powered like professor and have like undergrads crush on me. That was like this dream scenario, and that will not give you enough motivation to do the work needed to get through a PhD program.
But it's not. It can't be the whole. It
was a dark time. Yeah.
Well, we're glad you didn't go that route. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Could have been a very different way. So you both mentioned something about the comedy scene. And of course, we also mentioned that y'all are co-hosts of the Dyking Out podcast. Are there other ways in which you all say that you kind of identify creatively or like other ways that you express yourself creatively? You wouldn't mind sharing?
No.
No, that's it.
Just stand up. That's it.
Only stand up.
No sewing. We're not crocheting. We're not poeming. We're not doing any other things in our spare time these days. Comedy is the full bag, which is great. I see y'all are getting back into the game of shows and everything too. Those are slowly making their way back into your lives. I see.
Yeah. All I can handle right now. I'm especially coming out of the pandemic, whatever hobbies I did have, I've abandoned. I just mainly sit and wait for what's next. It's just,
I feel like it's either like you're either that or you're like, I've tried every fucking hobby I can get my hands on. And like just trying to just like, pass the time by like, I do resin art now. Or like me, I'm like, I'm learning how to crochet. For what? I don't know. Why not?
That's awesome.
So I feel like it's either one or the
other. I didn't pick up anything new, but I do things outside of comedy, like, but I don't have a lot of time to commit to it. But I was just telling Melody the other day, she was like, you draw? Because I was saying sometimes like I collaborate with Cecilia.
Just like that, I said it.
You draw?
How long have you drawn?
No, I collaborate with Cecilia on the episode art sometimes because she's really busy. So sometimes I'll do like a draft of it and then she'll like put it in her style. But as a kid and growing up, I used to draw a lot. I famously painted a giant portrait of Carol Channing that hangs in my friend's hallway. I like
love
to
that so
bake. I into baking macarons.
Of course,
and that's not an easy feat.
In the blood, right?
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
So I view that as creative. I used to knit, not as much anymore.
Yeah. Crocheting is a lot harder than I expected. I was like, this is not easy at all. I don't know if knitting is the same, but I feel like it's kind of the same animal.
I'm very basic at it. Like any crocheting, like I've crocheted like can koozies and and beanies, and once I crocheted a rainbow scarf for an ex.
That's amazing.
When we were together, like it
right.
wasn't like I was trying to win her back with a rainbow.
It was my parting gift.
I made you this crocheted rainbow scarf, even though it's pretty good.
But like I can't do anything beyond scarves. Like I can't like count a pattern out. That's like, way too complicated. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I feel like I need like a hands-on teacher, because it's like, this is like where you put in the thing to do. And I'm like, what is it, this one or is it the other hole? And then it like ends up being twisted. And I'm just like, I can't be.
Every hole would be a good hole. Use all the holes.
Yeah. It's a lot more holes than I'm used to.
Yeah. Very overwhelming.
Well, I feel like y'all are the queens of multitasking. So surely if there's anybody who can do it, it's you two. That much is true. So speaking of comedy, you all are spending so much time doing that hopefully now, and hopefully the trend continues to COVID-19 Delta variant A, B, C, and D be damned. But what it is about comedy that drew the two of you to that scene, like what made you want to be a comedian? What inspired you for that?
Well, regarding the scene, I would say that's my least favorite part of it.
Word. Something I have heard often in the past as well. So but that's like, not it.
I don't know if I'm being repelled by the scene, not drawn to the scene. But I love stand-up comedy.
Right. Yes. That I get. That I 100% get.
Yeah, I dated a comedian for like 5 years. And the scene is like,
cis male comedian, let's be clarified.
Very, very different.
Be very clear.
It was an interesting time. The scene, I understand what you're saying.
There's so many different kinds of scenes, but
sure.
So it's like if you're talking, I don't know. I started out in a very toxic scene. I've come to New York. There's like fun queer scenes, more alternative scenes. So it's like, by scene, I don't know. But I just loved stand up growing up. Knew that I wanted to do comedy in some way. And
do you remember like the first time you kind of remember like kind of doing stand-up, maybe not doing exactly stand-up, but being like, I want to get on stage and I want to tell jokes?
Oh yeah. The first person I met when I moved to Chicago was Ever Maynard. I transferred from a Starbucks in Connecticut to the Second City Starbucks.
Cool. Like you're right in the heart of comedy.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah.
Just making lattes for Tim Meadows,
no big deal.
And so Ever was a shift manager there and ran an open mic, and we became friends, and I started going to their shows, and eventually I would go to hang out at their open mic, and they could tell that I really wanted to do it, and eventually like signed me up and was like, I dare you on
stage.
So I don't that was a total blackout. I don't
Terrifying.
know what I talked about, but that would be the first time.
Everyone's first experience on stage that I hear about comedians and otherwise. It's like, I blacked out, I don't remember a thing. Like I couldn't tell you what I said or what I did, but I did it. You kind of got to get that like out of the way, and then you're like, okay, I can do this, find my legs. But very cool. What about you?
For me, it's like a endless well of validation that I'm trying to fill, and that
feel relatable.
I'm was not a person that was actually into stand-up comedy growing up, and then when I started doing comedy, people would mention a lot of names, and I'm like, these mean nothing to me. I was more of like an SNL kid. My friends and I watched SNL every week. We like wrote our own versions of SNL sketches and taped them. And I was just so obsessed with SNL. And then when I moved to New York, it was before I moved to New York. It was when I was watching Last Comic Standing this season with Amy Schumer in it.
Oh wow, that's a throwback.
And I was just really drawn to her, but also kind of like trying to punch up other people's punchlines. So I'd be watching it and my mind would be like firing off and be like, oh, that would have been a lot funnier if you had gone like this way with it, or like trying to do the challenges myself and like having fun. I'm like, wait, like, is this something I want to do? And then when I moved to New York, I took baby steps and took classes at UCB. I did improv and then I did sketch and then I did stand up because stand up scared me the most to do.
Yeah.
But then I was like, this is the best one for me.
This is where I'm comfortable.
Yeah. I like the other two also.
Yeah. But you feel like you thrive in stand up.
It's just like a lot easier. Like, I think it's
when you're not relying on other people kind of.
Yeah. Like Melody, I don't know if it's like a Capricorn thing, but like, I feel like it's a lot easier to measure your progress and like track what you're doing and be like organized when you're doing comedy by yourself. Like improv, it's like being in a really low stakes band and with people who don't know how to
like
follow
Destiny's Child and you're like, I need to be Beyonce. Yeah. I need to be dry. I can't. Well, yeah, but
it's just like a group text where everybody's like, what time's the show? And I'm like, why? I don't know.
Earth sign vibes for sure. Yeah.
And then sketch comedy, it's like all your money goes into props and you put all this work into putting on a show. And then the show happens one time and then it's like, it's done.
If you didn't tape it, you can't monetize it, so that's fucked.
Right. Yeah. Or you pay like hundreds of dollars to film a sketch
and make 30.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I have profound respect for any and everyone who chooses the path of stand-up comedy. It is certainly not meant for the faint of heart or for anyone with any lack of resiliency. 100%. Anytime I go to a show, I am just, I don't know. The first comedy show I went to, I heckled way too much because I come from going to like burlesque shows where they train you to do nothing but heckle. And my friend was on stage and she got done. She was like, if you do that to me again, you're never coming to my
literally gonna kill you.
I was like, yeah, queen, sure, got it. I will take that note and I'll be at the back of the room now. Thank you. So yeah, no. Shout out to the both of you and everybody that you get to intermingle with. And then Allie also, if you're listening, shout out to you because, whoo, man, y'all are, just like you said, there's all kinds of crazy scenes and well, not crazy, but toxic scenes mixed in with the good ones. And then you have to kind of, I'm sure, touch in a couple of different scenes and places just so that you can like be seen or get on different stages. Or do you feel like it is all kind of within the same realm, or are you doing a little peppering around?
You can't just hang in the queer and non-cis male spaces.
You have to venture
and
out.
Expect to make money, right? Because that's where the money is, I assume. Yeah.
You just get pigeonholed. It's also like in terms of testing your material, I find it really, really hard to get a sense of if a real audience is going to like my material when I just work it out with a crowd of like young,
queers,
Gen Z queers.
You're very different.
Trying to set up your joke. You're not even at the punchline, nowhere near it yet, and they're just like,
queen! Like too much validation, too much. Actually, I need you to wait.
So that's really sweet,
trust me for a second, so I can get to my punchline, so you can see where this is going. But
there's like an awful daytime mic that I used to go to a lot before the pandemic, and I would be like maybe the only or sometimes one of two women there, and I'm like, if I can get half of these guys looking up from their notebooks, it's a win.
Right. It's hard, especially when you're like performing for like a sea of other comedians that are either like outside smoking when it's like not their turn to be on stage, or like their noses are in their notebooks and they're like not even paying attention. You're like, what am I here for? Unless you're going to give me some feedback.
I imagine, though, that also daytime comedy, not exactly the easiest way, much like Zoom comedy, kind of hard. I don't know if like what the difference might be between like doing a show during the day and doing the show at night, like party level, if it's not like a brunch type of situation. You know what I mean? Like the vibe is surely different.
If it's an open mic, it's just like still a lot of depressed people in a dark basement.
Excellent. So who knows?
You can't tell what hour of the day it is. The only difference is that usually if you go to 3 p.m. one, most of the people there are unemployed.
Look at that.
And that's, Whereas you might get some more business casual attire at the later mics.
I love that. All right, we're going to take a quick break. This episode is brought to you in part by Rise Market, a feel-good, human-first marketplace. Discover and support inclusive small businesses on a marketplace that centers the LGBTQIA+ community. Find art, accessories, functional wearables, and more when you shop Rise Market. With over 160 plus vendors to choose from, it's no question that finding the next best gift for you or your loved one will be an easy feat. You know, we love to shop Rise Market over here. We talk about the artists every other week during our Femisodes, and I've got to tell you, some of my favorite things that I own are from Rise Market vendors. My Goddess Gatherings Love Potion oil that's infused with juniper is probably my favorite piece that I like to use whenever I'm doing ritual work, or just want to have like a better scent to the candles that I'm burning. So you can shop Rise Market today by visiting www.risemarket.com. That's www.risemarket.com. And we're back. So I want to talk a little bit more about the podcast that you two have together. That is how I personally found you all. Actually, through a guest that we both personally know, Allison Pontier. Her episode with y'all is how we discovered the show. Hey, Allison, congrats on your album.
Right?
Yes.
I get so emotional. Every time I see her post, it couldn't be happening to a better person. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of good people, but she is just such a genuinely great human and so talented and a little queer weirdo, and I adore her.
It's super cool to see her come from her like Denton days and then like where it's at now. It's just like it's so incredible to see. So proud of her.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Melody, that you missed out on that.
I know. So that's you joined
back.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be really awesome. You joined not necessarily late in the game, but a year or two. How far into the show's existence did you get to hop on?
It was like 2.5 years almost.
Excellent. So finding each other. So, I mean, for those of you who have not listened to the podcast before, you obviously had a previous co-host on your show for that first stint. And then once the two of you parted, did you go through like a series of like testing out different hosts before you landed on Melody as your permanent co-host?
I did, but Melody...
Wait, what?
She said, what did I do?
No.
Were you coerced?
No.
Carolyn, blink twice.
To year, what are we telling?
This is the moment where they tell all.
Melody, I asked Melody to be my first guest co-host when I knew I was parting ways with my last co-host, but I didn't know the timing of announcing it or anything. And it was just like, it happened kind of suddenly ish. So I was like, hey, Melody, we're going to this Whitney Houston, Robin Crawford thing tonight, tomorrow. Do you want to come by and sub in as co-host? I didn't tell her what was going on, and that was really bad of me. I gave her zero.
I had no idea.
up.
No details.
I thought her last host was out of town. And it was just a one-time,
like a one-time
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't know. I didn't say anything to anyone about it. And then that morning, my former co-host was like, "Just announce it now." Blah blah blah.
Oof.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to do it. So I didn't have much time to give Melody and our guest Gina Bloom a heads up, and that was a very awkward position to put Melody in. But then I had her back again as guest co-host a few more times, and I did have an instinct when I was thinking of like there's a reason Melody was the first one I asked, and not just because we were going to that event in New Jersey.
It's because of this event that I choose you, Melody Kamali, to be my co-host. I love it. It's like The Bachelorette, just one small instance. Right on, right on.
Yeah. Melody was a guest on the podcast on one of our most popular episodes.
Yeah, Gina Bloom, no big deal. Casual name drop.
No. The masturbation episode. When Melody was first guest.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, I was a guest on the podcast. Yes, the summer before.
That's right.
Oh, cute.
This all happened. Yeah.
And I remember she stayed a little bit to chat afterwards. And I thought, I really like her. I want to be friends with her. She was super fun to talk to. She's very funny, very interesting. So it worked out.
Yeah.
Drink it in, Melody. Drink it in.
I linger.
Keep going. Keep going. And what else am I good at? Yeah, absolutely. No, I think you're absolutely right. I think the chemistry between the two of you is really wonderful. And I've had the opportunity to tune into some like Patreon content and the what's that radio app? Stereo. There we go. Yeah, that thing.
Great way to pass a pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how people are on that app at all hours of the day for like 18 hours, 9 hours. It's insane to me.
I logged into it for the first time today.
Oh my gosh, did you really?
A while just to see what was up. And yeah, I kind of missed doing it. It was fun, but I think we had to do it contractually 3 times a week, and that was a lot.
Oh, that is a lot.
Yeah, we had to do it for 40 minutes each time, 3 times a week on top of our regular recording. So we were so burnt out.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and we had to do that for 10 weeks, and at the end of it, we're very happy to be like, let's
done.
Even though it's a fun app, like we had so much fun.
Yeah, it is a really fun
some
app.
Friends.
Yeah, it was
all over the world.
Friends.
Oh yeah, some really, really very open and forward international friends.
Right. Oh, are you talking about that horny Brit?
Yes.
Money Penny.
Money Penny.
So I would try and tune in just like any time to like comment and then like leave. And I feel like every time that I was able to tune in, she always had some sort of like saucy message, and it just escalated. By the time, like, I don't know, the last time I felt I heard her on the last time that I tuned in, she sounded a little intoxicated, and it was just like, this woman or this femme sounding person really is trying to get in there.
Carolyn was encouraging her. I kept begging you to stop.
I wanted to,
because we could preview messages. They would transcribe them as they come in, so I could be like, I'm not sure I want to answer this one, because I could see exactly what she was saying.
Oh my God.
Before Carolyn would then choose to play them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I loved her voice. I couldn't
her voice was great. Her voice was great, but she was just very uncomfortable.
Always talking about her knickers.
Yeah, and your knickers.
Asking about our knickers.
That's what I'm saying. It was like too much. Lots and lots and lots.
I loved it. I had fun.
Yeah.
Her whole thing was calling us naughty, as she just like spewed filth.
Yeah, everywhere. Just. Oh my God.
Wow. That's hilarious. Well, I'm glad that really strenuous commitment is over for you, because that sounds like a lot. I mean, we can't even barely get one recording out a week. We're lucky if we can maintain it. You know, we tried to do 2-a-days for a while, and it does kind of burn you out, especially if you're like actually also still trying to be friends and not just like have a work relationship. You have to be like, well, what do we talk about when we're not like in front of a mic? You know, and like not on a stage. So I noticed, well, not really I noticed, it's explicit, but in your episodes, every time you interview someone, you go over like a specific topic. What is the process, I guess, of figuring out what the topic is? Do you have like slips of paper and a hat that you pull from, or like you know, what does that process look like when you're trying to schedule out your guests?
I'm just laughing because I'm thinking about Melody's episode.
Yeah.
Which is not a great example.
You want to use it?
Let's.
I mean, so it started out with initially the idea was assigning people a topic sort of based on what they wanted to talk about. But actually, no, thinking about it, it was a combination. For certain guests, we would say, hey, can you come on to talk about this? Like Jess Tom and talking about gender identity. That makes sense. But then other people, I would say, what's something that you would be excited to dyke out about for an hour? And sometimes they would pitch a couple topics, a few topics, whatever. So if it's a person that we're having on for a specific reason, or if they have a book they're promoting, the topic's kind of baked in. Melody, for her episode, suggested a few things, but seemed really unsure, and it was kind of stressing her out. And then I was like, well, I can pitch you some topics. There's like a list of topics that listeners ask us to cover that I don't know who wants to talk about them. And sometimes they're like awkward to ask somebody to talk about masturbation, but I'm like, well,
like, I feel like you could be down.
Wait, I remember I pitched gay beaches and two other things.
We had the summer episode where somebody else talked about gay beaches.
Goddamn them.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant. That's too funny.
But it was a hit. Masturbation was great.
Great episode.
Yeah, I feel like it always is. I feel like it's a hot topic.
Yeah, it's a really, really good one. So is that kind of like the inspiration behind why you even started Dyking Out? Like, I don't know what was the reason why even starting the podcast in general?
Yeah, the topics was more of a way to like, part of it was just trying to bring a lot of different voices and perspectives from the queer community to the forefront, which is why we have a different guest every week, and we try to find different kind of people. But we also want people that are fun to listen to, which is why a lot of them are performers and comedians.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We find it easier to talk to. Melody has a no poet rule that I'm constantly accidentally breaking.
Yeah.
There's someone the other day.
What poet hurt you? Yeah.
She Googled a guest the other day, and she's like, Carolyn, they're a poet.
I had one rule.
One rule. No poet.
I didn't know they were a poet. I did not know. I thought they were a comedy writer. They can be both. We contain multitudes. But anyway.
But no poetry will be read on this show. Let me be clear.
I was just afraid that if we didn't have topics, every episode would devolve even more so than they do now into like a conversation about the L word or a conversation about coming out, and you know, just to get some variety in there. We're not too strict. Like, topics can be close, but the podcast was started. I was going through a divorce, and my former co-host was going through a breakup, and we were just getting brunch and bitching about our situations. And she had a podcast at the time with her friend and said that she really liked podcasting. And I'm like, you know, there are no queer women podcasting, or at least none that I know of. We should really do a podcast. We sat on it for a year, and then the week we launched, Les Hangout comes out, Query with Cameron Esposito comes out. There was like a fourth, Emma Willman, her podcast came all within like the same 2-week time frame.
God damn it.
They've been reading your emails. That's awful.
Like, we sat on it for a year for this to happen, but it was fine. Obviously there's like enough space for all of us. We're all very different podcasts. And so it just kind of stuck.
Right on. Well, I love that. Anything to keep the conversation going and relatable and entertaining. So I feel that 100%. You also, I feel like, have got to interview a lot of, like, I don't know, icons, bicons, dicons, things like that. Especially like in your work with the Lesbian Bar Project. That's a super exciting thing to follow. Is it Lilio? Oh my goodness. Can you help me with Lily's last name? Lilio Shevitz? Alia Shevitz? I am not naming the right person. Who are the individuals that are in charge of the Lesbian Bar Project efforts?
Erica Rose and Alina Street.
Alina Street. I'm thinking of another comedian then, or some other.
No, she's thinking of
Lily?
Of Lily. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
definite organization.
Well, she helped out with the first round, but she's not one of the directors of it. Yeah.
Okay. My mistake. Yeah. But still, the project itself is really awesome. You guys have had a lot of really cool opportunities to do like shows. You got to host the in-person, remind me again, there was an in-person screening of the documentary itself, right?
Yeah, with Leah Delaria.
Yeah, talk about exactly, being in room with people who are who've had a lot of impact on the queer community and just in general with your past guests. What has that been like for you as far as like, I don't know, learning about yourselves or I don't know, coming to the understanding of, I guess, the kind of impact that you all have as a show by being able to like make that connection and like you get to be around those people. What is that like? Tell us about it. Oh no, did it? Sorry, I don't know if it broke up. I felt like y'all broke up for a second.
No, I wanted to give Melody a chance to go, but I can start. I mean, for me, it's just a dream. A lot of the people we talk to are people that I admire. And for example, Desiree Akhavan.
I was gonna say her. I should have gone first, actually.
Well, continue.
For different
reasons. Of course.
Yeah. So someone like Desiree Akhavan, you know, I watched the Bisexual. I'd seen her web series, and her writing to me was just so spot on. With it, just hit everything I love. I just thought it was so well done. Her performance in it. And I remember hearing her on an interview on NPR with Terry Gross, I believe, when she was promoting the Miseducation of Cameron Post. And I was just like, who is this person? That was my first time hearing of her, was on that interview. And she just seemed so interesting. And the fact that we got to talk to her just blows my mind. It's just what a cool experience to be able to tell somebody that you're such a big fan of, like what their work means to you.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, I almost can't handle it sometimes. It's hard
overwhelmed.
To like not be a fan and have to be like a professional.
Right. Like Jamie Babbitt, we were pretty nervous going into the Jamie Babbitt interview.
I can imagine.
She's just like so boss, like she's wearing her like hot loungewear.
Of course.
My god,
just like being the epitome of perfect.
Just
in her house in Connecticut she was renting while shooting, and just but really engaged and like leaning in with like these like thoughtful, and I don't know.
Everything. That interview was amazing. Absolutely, that interview was really wonderful. And
that was so fun.
It's that one, and then when you all got to interview Allison Bechtel, when those two names came like across my little update screen of your new episode releases, I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Like the Allison Bechtel. Like it's
right. The one that made the word dykes like
say
that was huge. Margaret Cho, and I'm sorry, Melody, to bring it up, but Margaret Cho, the fact that I got to like go to her house and record.
Holy shit!
Like, congratulations, friend.
Yeah, that I like used her bathroom.
Oh my god, I would have
breathed her air
or something. Like stolen a Q-tip.
Right,
Margaret's house. Yeah,
I definitely
hung it up on my wall. Yeah, I would have. Yeah, you got to.
Well, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to continue to have wonderful interviews with guests that are of the same like degree
caliber.
Exactly. And then more chances to mildly internally freak out while you're meeting your next big, I don't know, role model, inspiration, favorite celebrity, whomever in those interviews.
Honestly, one of the biggest Dyking Out moments for me was not even an interview, is when I met Tegan and Sarah, and Tegan had actually like listened to Dyking Out.
You just like shit your pants.
I think because I like pitched it to their people and they were trying to make it happen and they just couldn't because they need to be on vocal rest when they're touring, whatever. But they let me meet them, and Tegan was like,
that's awesome.
And Sarah, but Tegan was like more engaged in the conversation and was so sweet and so encouraging, and nice. And I just like, I left and I just burst into tears and cried for like half an hour.
Yeah, that's huge.
So
Tegan and Sarah.
blessed.
I mean, they're like
Yeah.
Ugh, I can't even imagine. I would have cried too.
Yeah. Now
Probably
we just
right
need
in
to
front
get,
of them. Yeah.
we need to get Sue Bird on for Melody.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if you could name a couple, who are dream guests that were like you're like yearning towards
on your list, on top of your list? Yeah.
That you can say, unless in the event that they are already in the works.
Well, there's one in the works.
Yes.
Excellent. Good.
Yeah. And then where do you go from there? Sue Bird is right. Diana Taurasi. Who else? I'd love to start getting gay icons on. By that I mean Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh man!
I know what you're watching now.
Yeah.
I
so obsessed.
Is it White Lotus? Okay.
Yeah.
See, I haven't started it yet, but then someone told me that she was in the show, and I was like, "Well, why didn't you fucking lead with that?" Like, that's all you have to tell me is
so
current. Man, if there's anybody in this world, yeah, absolutely. Jennifer Coolidge. What a fucking icon. That would be wonderful. I would love a Kathy Griffin moment. I guess she's not really no, she's still an icon, even though she's not necessarily a part of the queer community, much like Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah.
We want Sandra Bernhardt, right?
For sure.
Yeah, which that one is like, there's like, we've made contact before and the timing just hasn't worked. Alan Cumming is another one.
Oh God, are you fucking kidding me?
I mean, Tegan and Sarah still hasn't happened. And we're still trying to get the timing of that. That would be a big one for me. One that I don't talk about much, but would my dream is for somebody to like come out or talk about being gay for the first time on our podcast. And I want that to be Lori Petty. I want Lori Petty.
And I want it to be, why is it them?
Being gay for the first time.
Yeah. And then you have that documented forever.
Yeah. Get the scoop.
Would you do that if you had a guest be like, "Hi, my topic is literally my coming out story. I want to do that." Would that be?
Of course.
Yeah.
I would love
pretty
to.
awesome. That would be magical.
Any closeted lesbians or
lesbians,
however you identify listening to this, if you want to come out on Dyking Out,
this is your moment. This is your time.
Got Rebecca Black to come out. The Dating Straight.
Oh shit! Really?
Black. Yeah,
they did.
That was like when she was first confirmed. Yeah.
Wow. Look at that.
Wow.
What clout? That's a good one. I like to remind people that she's gay. I'm like, that's right.
Yeah.
She's real hot and real gay, and you should be ashamed for not wanting to claim her originally. That's all I have to say about that. Because I love Rebecca Black. She's wonderful. So what do you think, out of everybody that you've had the chance to interview so far, or maybe even from one of the events that you've done, like, what's the greatest takeaway or greatest like thing that you've learned, whether it be about like yourself or the world or whatever, from your time in working together on this podcast?
It's just interesting because, I joined right before the pandemic.
Oh my God, that's right.
So I'm just so excited for what's to come.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what if
best thing
I learned
learned
so much from Carolyn, if you said working
together on the show.
Working together. So much from Carolyn on just how to podcast.
Right. Yeah, it is certainly not easy.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even like the big, like, I learned stuff from everybody. Just really went into doing this podcast thinking like, well, I've been out since I was 17, so I'm so gay and I can talk about all these gay things and I know so much, and immediately it was like, you know nothing, you idiot.
Very humbling. Yeah,
absolutely.
And I mean, part of it is I did want to learn other people's experience and perspectives, but one example I bring up all the time was like, in I think the first episode that I kind of pulled because it's no longer relevant, was this like fake FAQ, and then one of them was like talking about lesbian sex and kind of mocking this idea of lesbian porn and performing oral sex on a strap-on and being like, oh yeah, but like people do that, like,
right?
There are a lot of lesbians who do that and who enjoy and get off on it.
Oh,
and in
for
my
sure.
mind, I was like, we would never do that. None of them. Like, as if
that's not a
for
thing.
everyone.
And then people were like, actually,
right.
Yeah.
And very quickly, I'm like,
no,
like our community contains such multitudes.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, when people are like, how can you be okay with like this person using the word dyke? I'm like, everybody's their own person. Everybody's on their own journey. Everybody resonates with different things. And my philosophy, it's like, as long as you're not actively causing real actual harm and not just like weird Twitter throwing around the word harm, like then do what works for you. Be true to yourself. And you know, I think we're all trying our best here.
Absolutely.
That's very true.
And Melody, you're the best example of that, I think, on the show with your coming out as a bicon. I just want to say personally, like, thank you for doing that, because as somebody who also identifies as bisexual, like, I kind of was like, I don't know, you know, it's again the plight of the bi, right? Trying to find like stability within community and not feeling a part of, because you're not necessarily fully one or the other. And when that episode came out, I was just like, thank fucking God. I don't feel like weird, like a kind of like on the edge kind of listener, you know, kind of situation. It was a really validating moment for me in my personal life. So I just wanted to take a moment and
so happy.
Yeah, thank you for your.
I also love the term bike a lot. I haven't heard that.
Yes.
I will be adding that to my Twitter bio.
Please do. Please buy the hat. Oh, we have a listener, Rachel Newman, who
I was going to say, is there a hat?
Yes. That says, bike,
take my money.
YKE.
Take my money, please. Yeah.
My favorite accessory.
The best accessory, yes.
Yeah, that moment just happened. Again, we referenced this Desiree Akban interview a lot because it just meant so much to us for such different reasons. And I was like, I can't keep up this charade. I just hadn't said it yet. And Carolyn and I were getting to know each other. We were not expecting, again, can't stress this enough, a global pandemic.
Just I don't think
like
any of us
a few weeks
were.
into us starting to work together and getting to know each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I obviously had done a lot of reflecting, and in preparation for that had rewatched The Bisexual, which is such a literal story, like relatable story of my life. And I had to just like tell her. So it was like I was telling her and Carolyn in the moment and all of the Dyking Out listeners.
Like, I'm doing it now. This is the moment.
And I bet that's hard because, you know,
out.
Being, you know, bisexual is constantly invalidated. So you're like, are all of our listeners going to be like, get out of here, you fucking like poser or whatever? And you're just like,
it's just,
I'm allowed here. That's
so much biphobia.
Absolutely.
You can always count on finding that. Don't have to look far.
Sure don't. Throw a rock.
Within my own relationship and my girlfriend, I have to call out, you know, all the time. So I wasn't dying to talk about it.
Right, of course.
Like something that you were like, all right, here, let's do it. Yeah,
100%. I mean, you know, the show that we made we got our start on in our world of burlesque. You have to be queer or an ally in order to even get on the stage. And when I was trying to make my way into becoming a performer, I was living with another performer at the time. And I was like, well, I guess I could start performing. I am bisexual. And so that does make me like queer. And she was like, yeah, but not really. And I had to be like, excuse me? Like, are you for real right now? This is not even
so they're being inclusive of allies, but them
right.
being weird
but bisexuals where we like
that is how disrespected the bisexual is.
Yep.
Which is
absolutely.
really funny because I thought that the person that you're referring to was bisexual, so that's really funny.
Yeah, that part. So, you know, it's fine. We're since long past that.
We all have our own journeys, right?
We're all growing every day. We contain multitudes, and we're all trying to live our best authentic selves.
Maybe biphobia just like as a projection. a little bit.
Yeah, 150%.
Wanting to reject their own. Yeah, I understand that.
I've probably done it.
Yeah. Oh, I for sure. Yeah.
Right. Internalized homophobia. That's a completely other different
very real thing.
route we're not going to go on today.
No, we don't have enough time.
No, we do not. So as far as the like future of shows and whatnot goes, obviously we're teetering on the edge of getting pulled back. I'm not very familiar what the situation is like in New York. I can tell you that in Texas it is trash regarding the Delta variant and things and whatnot. But with all of that aside, should things go ahead as usual, what does future shows look like for the two of you for Dyking Out? Are we going to see a tour in our midst sometime in the future? Would love that.
I mean, currently we're doing Henrietta Hudson L Word watch parties.
We are focusing in on the L Word right now.
Yeah, and that
tapping that market.
Yeah, it's a lot of homework. We're doing PowerPoints. It's a lot of cats to wrangle. So
you're very produced. I like that.
Yeah, because of that, Stonewall isn't back to doing regular events yet, but we're on their radar to come back once they're ready to do that.
Awesome.
We're going to be performing. This isn't a Dyking Out show, but me, Melody, and Allie are performing on a show in P-Town this Saturday.
I saw that flyer. Cool. Congratulations, a P-Town show. You made it.
Excited about that.
The gay cornucopia. Yeah.
In terms of going on the road, like we would love to. We've talked about going down to like DC, and the places where they have lesbian bars, but just with everything, I don't know. I still haven't been on a plane, and I'm too nervous. Like we're too nervous, I think, to make plans that are far out. So we're just kind of taking things day by day, ideally, you know, but before the pandemic, Melody and I were ready to go out to LA to do a show, to do interviews, and then to do stuff in Vegas.
Damn.
That would have been awesome.
We're still.
Well, I hope that. Yeah, I hope that gets to come back.
It will still get to happen. Just might take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Well, we do have one lesbian bar in Dallas, Sue Ellen's. If
yes, I know. A
come
gay
on and hang.
I know you're probably itching to come to Dallas. It's such a
the place.
Area.
It's such a great place to be a queer person in this state. Yeah.
If you want to come, please do. But honestly, Sue Ellen's is amazing.
Yeah, it's a great.
I would love to.
The only like gay bar worth going to on the
strip. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's a good fun spot. Well, I hope all of those plans work out for you all. That'll be really beautiful to see. Get out to fucking LA and do those goddamn interviews. That would be awesome.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if anybody wants to do interviews in person again. I think like now that we've gone
part.
through Zoom, I can't imagine somebody who's going like unless we do a live show. So we have a live show actually that we're doing, a live recording in October at Caveat with a pretty
slated
figure
icon.
A total daikon. Congratulations. Looking forward to hearing more about that.
A somewhat recent daikon, but other than that, other than having somebody do like a recording from an audience, who's gonna want to leave their home anymore?
We're like, actually, we're good.
Absolutely, I don't know. I like in-person interviews. I
like them too.
I'm fully with you 100%. Where people are like, I don't want to leave my house anymore. I mean, the idea of going to a studio space and like making that extra effort when you can simply achieve it over this. Yeah.
Right.
I totally understand.
Being able to like branch out and reach like so many more people virtually, and you can like interview people in fucking, you know, like Canada or I guess that's closer for you guys, but you know what I mean? So
yeah.
But at the same time, yeah.
Well, let's hope we get to do some of that stuff in the future.
Some in-person stuff would be cool.
Indeed. Birdie, did you have any other questions before we move on to the big old final one?
Well, you know me, I would like to know, do you guys know, well, I mean, we all are gay here, but I don't like to assume, birth charts, big three. Do we know them?
Do we know them?
Very important.
We have very similar ones. Yeah.
Oh, please do tell.
So Carolyn and I both have Capricorn sun signs and rising signs.
Wow.
Oh, double caps in the house. What's up?
And then our moon signs are very similar. I'm Virgo and she's Taurus.
Oh, come on, Earth energy. Yeah. Okay, cool.
So
Love
look
that a
at
lot.
that.
We're both Virgos here. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Virgo
Yeah.
suns.
Yeah.
And then you're Gemini rising. I am Scorpio rising. Leo moon, Sag moon. So fiery moons.
Yeah. Fun.
Earth suns. Yeah. Very fun.
Lots of good times indeed. Excellent. Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break. This episode of What the Femme podcast is brought to you by Stoke Co-working, located in the heart of downtown Denton, Texas. Applications are now open for the second round of Accelerate Her. This startup incubator program is a program made possible by a partnership between Stoke Co-working and Texas Women's University Center for Women Entrepreneurs. The program is designed to help women and women-identifying entrepreneurs reach important milestones in order to take their business to the next level. The program will offer weekly workshops and cohort check-ins, as well as regular contact with the program managers and mentors. Applications are open until August 13th, and the program starts October 1st, 2021. Learn more today at www.stokedenton.com. That's www.stokedenton.com. And we are back. All right, so we've come to the part in our episode where we always like to ask our guests, what does femme mean to you? Do you identify as such? If not, we can talk about other stuff. So, friends. Right, we're always like, well, I don't know what to tell you if you don't.
Or if you have any femspirations.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Like affected your life. Yeah.
Femspirations, yes, indeed.
Yeah, I bounce around. I don't know if I identify as femme. Do you identify as femme, Carolyn?
Do you, Carolyn?
You do.
I used to. I mean, I guess I still do, but yeah, I've bounced around a lot more, especially since starting Dyking Out. I think it really was that leather vest at Stonewall that kind of transformed me and made me
Why is it always a vest?
That'll happen. Yeah.
Why is it always
a leather vest
in like a chunk, in like a big choker, and all of a sudden I'm like, am I butch now?
Right.
Yeah.
But like when I hosted that Christmas variety show at Joe's Pub, I had my hair, it was like 1920s curls, and I was wearing like a
flapper dress,
sparkly. No, it was like a suit, but it was like short.
Oh, cool.
Sparkly. And
cute.
These like high heeled red boots. I don't know. It was like
just like
a very
sick.
femme look, and I love that.
That was high femme.
Yeah, that was like
For
one of my
sure.
favorite on stage looks to have. So I think I am like a femme at heart. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Femme rising, maybe. If you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
I know. I feel that's funny that you said that, kind of like as like you've been involved with your podcast, that you've kind of like felt yourself a little like exploring different things. And I found the same about myself, actually, like starting out being like, I'm femme. And then like, and it's even a podcast about like being femme. Right. And I'm like,
Right.
Am I
know
though?
right.
Yeah.
Like, damn, I think I'm like somewhere. Yeah. You know, if it is a spectrum, like definitely I kind of float back and forth.
Right. Even though I never felt like I was like a girly girl, but I don't know, my mom's kind of vain, I would say. Like she showers and like does her hair and everything to like go and babysit her grandkids.
Right.
Like,
Love
It's like
it.
a production.
yeah, just like always a full face of makeup, but then when she goes out, it's like a whole nother level of a full face of makeup.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so that like for years I would always wear makeup, and it's not until maybe the past few years that I will like sometimes be out in public without makeup.
Yeah.
So my mom kind of like instilled that a little bit in me, and I don't mind it. Like I do love wearing makeup. I love putting on makeup.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
love that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're kind of getting more
Me too.
comfortable in your like non-makeup self.
Yeah, I'm trying to just
Yeah.
like be like, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Like making
Yeah,
sure I'm
it's a
doing
way
it for
of
the right
like
reasons.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Checking in and being like, why am I wearing makeup? Is it for me, or
Right.
is it like an expectation I feel like I have to?
Yeah. And my
uphold.
wife and I
Yeah.
went through that during the pandemic. We were
Me
both
too.
like, well, nobody's seeing us, so let's like never wear makeup and never wear pants with a button or zipper.
No,
and,
yeah.
You know, stopped shaving and all of that. And I became like super butch. Like I cut my hair in quarantine. I grew my armpit hair out.
Yes.
And
love it.
And then sometimes I'd look in the mirror. I'm like,
who the fuck am I?
Me. Yeah. I'm like, it just felt weird. And I'm like, no, I need to grow it out. And I would look at like old headshots of myself and be like, I miss her. Yeah.
I miss her. Yeah. I feel like, I know, I mean, me personally kind of went through that too. Like when you first are kind of coming out and you're like, see a lot of like queerness and like embracing your body hair and doing all of this. And so you're like, I'm going to grow out my like hair and my armpit hair. And then you're like, actually, I don't know if that's really empowering for me as like, you know, like you kind of got to try it on
I never went through that growing up hairy and Middle Eastern. Absolutely not.
Oh yeah.
Too much time lasering that shit away.
Yeah.
Go on a gender journey with body hair. Absolutely
no gender
not.
journey for me.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I feel like we all go through these, like, I don't know, we all grow up with, granted, I'm sure we all grew up with different versions of it, but like these feminine expectations, you know, from our parents. Like Carolyn, I'm not sure if it's your family from France you were talking about, like your mom, but like I feel like within like French, because our family like generationally is also French, so it's like this like I don't know, it's like a whole different category of like what feminine presentation is and like what it means to be put together
too.
That part too, which doesn't necessarily coincide with the French version of it, but they are certainly
it's like
two
similar
beasts.
Well, so my French family, no, my mom's the American one, my dad's the French one, and my family in France are very much like natural, like my aunts, like I would never see them in makeup, armpit hair, you know, just really
very natural,
just casual,
like, casual.
Not too put together, short hair.
So much more emphasis, I feel like, on like skincare rather, but I feel like so maybe not necessarily like with an emphasis on the makeup, but at least always kind of looking put together, assembled, you know what I mean? As opposed to like athleisure is not necessarily a thing that you will find, I feel like. I don't know.
Right.
But
and also even with my aunts having like armpit hair and short haircuts and no makeup, they always looked very femme, like the fabrics they wore.
Yes, exactly. The scarves and things.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure, you know, for Melody, a completely different upbringing, you know, you were talking about with having the hair management. And then I don't know if you could speak to a little bit more about like, you know, what that looked like for you, of like what that expectation was for your feminine presentation.
Oh, growing up, well, also Persians, growing up with my grandma and aunts, they were being femme was being like instilled in me from being like painting our nails with our grandma. Like she was, my grandma's actually just really looks obsessed. I don't want to like put that on the whole Persian culture, but she was very old school
into
always like making sure our hair was right and all that. But the body hair, we're a hairy people, but also it's expected that the women are like hair free still, and
what a concept.
waxed, you know.
So
it was just something like a weekly occurrence. Sundays were for waxing at the house.
Wow, right on.
We would starting like around puberty, my mom would just wax us Sunday nights, and that went until I was like, it was a big deal being like, oh no, I'm gonna shave. Okay, I'm sick of this.
And they're
like,
I'm gonna shave, and you can't stop me.
I'm saving 3 hours of my weekend. Okay.
100%.
Yeah, shaving seems much quicker than waxing, and like also significantly less painful.
Yeah, because I got grounded for like my cousin, sister, and I. It was like you do not shave. Like my aunts and my mom would be like, if I find you shaving, you're in big trouble. Really? And there was a big family party once. And it was like summer going into, I don't know, 6th grade or something. And my sister, cousin, and I were all around the same age. while the parents were out grilling kebabs, we were like playing in the sprinkler before we're in our bathing suits. And we like just like sprinted up to the upstairs bathroom and like grabbed her dad's razor and like went in the shower and just like shaved whatever we could of each other.
Oh my god,
streaks through back hair.
Do it now before they get us.
And we got caught. Shaving frenzy.
No, not caught. No.
Her mom like found just like hair and like
clumps of hair,
of course,
droplets of blood,
around the bathroom. And like we were just ostracized. Like the family all like they like yelled at us. We were like going to be grounded. It was understood, but we still got to hang out with each other until the end of this party. But they were like put in separate rooms and like
they drilled you guys,
shamed for shaving.
Yeah.
And then it was moving forward from that. I think that my mom started like waxing us on Sunday. That was like the inciting incident around puberty.
Wow.
And then eventually around we would watch Desperate Housewives. I remember the shows by like the Sunday shows growing up by was
a Sunday, and like
what was my mom would thread our eyebrows while we watched that.
Home edition.
So funny.
Yeah,
used to come on like right after Desperate Housewives. That's really funny. I definitely remember those Sunday shows. Yeah,
great for eyebrow threading. What a shocking show. You stay like this for the majority of the time anyway. Oh my god,
pull my eyes open. Yeah,
like look at Ava Longoria, stare into her eyes. Damn, what a show. Well, I'm glad you survived the reckoning of the hair'scapades that is your life. And thank you for
a long journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, eventually got laser and it's a less and less of a problem.
Less of
Congratulations.
a problem. Yeah.
Something I have also considered. Yeah, right, exactly. It is the things we do to maintain whatever level of femness that we decide to.
Probably the most femme thing about me. Actually.
Hey, I'm into it. Whatever it is you got to do that makes you feel whatever level you want to be authentic with in your own life, we support it. As long as it's not harming anybody, we're into it.
Just harming myself.
Just yourself. As long as it's self-harm.
Through pain.
For a little bit.
Just the tiniest amount.
Just a little bit.
Just
but
touch.
you don't have to worry about it ever again.
That's
well, not
so
ever
funny.
again, but significantly less.
Well, before we go, is there anything that we can plug for y'all? Where can everybody find y'all online, social medias, websites, things like that? Plug it.
Dyking Out.
Oh, right. Dyking Out.
Wherever you listen to this, you can also listen to Dyking Out.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, you can follow Dyking Out at Dyking Out on most things. And I'm at TGI Carolyn.
I'm at Melody Kamali. What do we have? We have these L-word watch parties.
Yes.
This sounds like so much fun.
The New York area. Yeah, definitely. We're off to a fun start.
Where y'all doing that show exactly?
At Henrietta Hudson.
Yes, thank you.
Which is a legendary place. And it where it exists, it used to be the original Cubby Hole.
Oh, right.
Who owns Henrietta Hudson was a bartender at Cubby Hole.
Oh, cool.
And then eventually took it over, right? Was that the story she was telling you while she was
caressing you? Wait, what did you say?
Caressing you.
Yeah.
Stop.
Talk about femme. I'm just, it's like, femme, to answer the question before, it's like, I'm so more femme in the summer because it's quite literally hot.
Right. Too hot.
Clothes.
Yeah. And you're like,
craft my look around that. And chances are it's femme.
Right.
So,
yeah.
When I moved to New York,
older dykes though.
Yeah.
They love it though.
I moved to New York and like everybody I worked with would wear dresses like every day. And I'm like, I had dresses but not enough to
not like that
5 days a week. Wow.
I realized like, because it's such a swamp in the city, it's so disgusting.
Blowy
to wear
as
a dress to let the air flow through. So I was like very femme my first few years in New York. Wearing dresses all the time.
You're kind of forced to be in a way.
But platforms get
it's
really
so goddamn hot.
But Melanie, am I hearing that it's an attractor of elder lesbians that one might proceed with caution?
Yeah.
It's the exposed shoulders.
Knee touching.
Show me them knees. Yeah, absolutely.
I I think that was the story. Yeah.
That's excellent. Well, if you want to see some exposed knees, go to Henrietta Hudson's. What day is that again? Sorry.
Sundays.
Excellent.
We will be doing a little pre-show before the L Word airs. So that airs 10 Eastern time, around 9:15. We do a little pre-show, and then we just scream at a projector.
I was going to say, do you live commentary during the episode, or
we just do each other?
Nice.
Yeah, it gets, well, the first one, it wasn't as rowdy. The rowdy crowd is more outside. It's on 3 screens in 3 different rooms at Henrietta Hudson, and one is facing the outside. So the outside was rowdy, but then the Sunday watch party was like a lot of group screaming and yelling and reactions. And that was so much
fun.
That.
Yeah. I love a watch party, especially if you get to do it like in person. It's so
be
much
loud
fun.
about it. It's a good time.
The first one, Melody and I were yelling like, "Oh," and like nobody was reacting, and we were just like 2 idiots in the corner trying.
That's
to
fine.
Damn tough crowd. Yeah.
There was a dance party at the venue later. We're like, are they just here for that? And
right. You're not here to watch the show.
We knew they were all there for the show.
Oh, yeah.
We knew.
I love that. Well, we'll have to come visit for next season. Well, hopefully you all get to continue those the next time they've released an L Word season. Hopefully they get confirmed for another season. That part.
Yes.
Are
we hoping?
Are we hoping? I have
allowed it.
Yeah, I know. Right. I mean,
I swear to God, if they put Bet and Pina back together,
I'm literally
jumping ship.
We can riot together. Yeah, why not? Take all of the memorabilia, burn it in a trash can on stage, call it art. Leave it at that. Hell yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining us today, Carolyn and Melody. It's really been a pleasure to have y'all on today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Of course. We hope to check out your shows in the future in person one day. And everybody be sure to go listen to Dyking Out wherever you tune into podcasts. Before we go, we want to make sure to roll through some bills we got to pay. If you enjoyed today's episode and you'd like to listen to the ad-free version, you can support our Patreon at patreon.com/whatthefempodcast. Thank you to Kristen Spabchik, Danica Dobson, Megan Doherty, Atticus Kimbrough, Christopher Walker, Devin Bruner, Allie Barnes, Courtney Marie, Danny Nichols, Kirby, and Lucy for supporting our Patreon. Also, our next show for What the Fem Podcast is it was yesterday. So hopefully you got to tune in to our show on Wednesday, August 11th. Yeah, with Space Cadets. Do the thing, support Rise Market, support Space Cadets. They're an awesome duo, queer music duo out of Austin, Texas, our mutually favorite place. All right, friends. I know exactly. All right, friends. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of What the Fem Podcast. We'll talk to you later. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.